Hey everyone, Ben Stevens here, and I have another collection video for you. In front of me, I have 9 different versions of The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time 3D for the Nintendo 3DS, and each one of these comes from a different part of the world and is unique in its own way. Each one is a little bit different from the next, and yeah, so I'm going to go through and just talk to you a little bit about each of these different versions of the game. And before I start, I would like to say I think it's pretty crazy how this game had such widespread reception that there were at least 9 different versions from around the world to find out there. So that's really cool. So hopefully this video is fun and a little bit educational. So without further ado, let's start. So the first version of the game we have here is the North American version. It comes in this nice yellowy case. It's not shiny like some of the other ones that have this same style, but it has this picture of Link on the horse holding the Master Sword with these bright red letters and the game's logo. If we look on the back, it has this picture of Falvagia, Poe, all this good stuff. Yeah, so this was the third version of the game to be released on June 19th, 2011. If we look on the inside, here's the game itself. It's got that USA code in the bottom right. That is the North American code for the game. Now, the 3DS is region locked, so this will work on any North American Nintendo 3DS. It has that gold background on the cart with that bright red logo for the game. And here we have the instruction booklet. This is actually very nice. It opens up quite large to have many panels about the same size. It's almost poster size, and it's really cool. I really like the way they went with this particular style of the booklet. So yeah, this is the North American version. The next version we have here is the European version. This is released with several slightly varying box styles, but this here is the UK one. You can see by the rating symbol down here. Some of the other ones I know of are, well, I think the only one I can name off the top of my head that I've seen is a German one. It's got this big yellowy rating symbol down here. And some of the newer ones don't come with this compatible with 2DS icon right here. If we take a look at the back, it has a slightly different back than the other case. There's some different pictures. It has a little bit less legal information and whatnot down there. But yeah, they're both very cool. Most of the games that I have here have this kind of background right here, it's a very pretty cover art for the game. I really like it. Taking a look inside, the game card is a little bit different on this one. It's got this tan background. They have that, I'm not sure what that CE thing is, but I should know. Most of the versions of the game have it. Got the official seal of Nintendo, and in the bottom right we have that EUR for the European version of the game. One thing I don't like about this is the instruction booklet. It's not on top, and I'm not going to take it out, but it's very small. It's a lot smaller. I think it's the smallest one. It is only 2 little panels, and it doesn't have very much information on it, and the text is small, and I do not like it at all. But yeah, so that's the European version. It was released, the second version to be released on June 17th, one day after the Japanese version. So Europe got their version of the game before North America. Boo to that. So when I zoom out here, I said I had 9 versions of the game, but I have 10 things here. This does not contain a version of the game. This was a pre-order bonus for the European version. If you ordered it, you would get this special box, I think a week or two before the game came out. It didn't have the game in it, but it did have this poster of Ganondorf fighting Link. I don't have the poster, but it has this cool little, this rupee inside that they come through the holes. And it actually has the same back cover, or slightly similar to the North American version, but it's a little bit different. But it has some of the same pictures. I think it's interesting how this one is almost the same, but just different enough to be interesting. So yeah, this isn't actually a version of the game, like I said, but it is cool. There's a few different versions of this. This is the one from Spain, I believe. And these stickers are really cheap and really flimsy, and I don't like that. But this is cool, how this looks. And although these two are almost the same, this one's a little shinier and a little darker. So it's a very cool thing to have. The next one here, this is the Japanese version of the game. This was the first version to be released on June 16th, 2011. This works on all Japanese Nintendo 3DSs. And it has the same box art as the European one. And the back is also the same, I believe. A little bit more legal information on the bottom. Open it up, and it has the same cart style as well. It's got that JPN to signify the Japanese region right there. And the booklet here is the same as the North American one. It's nice and big. It's very impressive to look at, and I really like it. So these three are probably the most common versions of the game you are going to find, but also one of the during the original releases was the Australian version of the game, which is the next one I have here. I think this might be my favorite one out of the box arts. It's like the North American version over here, but it is a lot darker. It has a lot more color and depth in it, and I really like the way it looks. I think it's definitely my favorite. If we flip to the back, it has the same back as the North American version of the game, and it's very, very cool. I really like it. So opening it up here, it has the same cart style as the North American version, that nice gold. And it has the AUS for the Australian region, and it also has the big, beautiful instruction booklet that I love so much. So this version of the game was released on June 30th. It was the last version to release in the mainstream launch, about 2 weeks after the Japanese version. And there was also a pre-order bonus that came with this. I don't have it, but it was called the Ocarina edition, and it came with this plastic ocarina that looked pretty cool. It looked a little cheap though, but it's very nice to have cool pre-order bonuses. Now, even though this has a different region code on the inside, the AUS, it is actually just the European version. So it would work on any European or Australian 3DS because they share the exact same region coding. So yeah, that's the Australian version. Those are the first mainstream. So the two I have here, these are not in a box. These are special versions of the game. These are the not for resale versions. Let me get that focus right there. There we go. These are the not for resale versions of the game. There are two of them as far as I know. And I'll go into that a little bit in a minute, but this is the North American version. As you can see, the big not for resale letters and the very small not for resale letters here. Okay. So these were the carts that when you went into a GameStop or some other video game store, I don't know what they have in Europe. It's like Game Station or something. These are what you would see in the cart, and basically what they are is it's a 5-minute little demo where you can start inside the Deku Tree, in Goma boss fight, or start in the Kokiri Forest. You can just run around a little bit, and it's not a complete version of the game. You can use glitches to escape and do some cool stuff, but there are a lot of areas that don't load and crash the game. But it's just a neat little piece to have. This is actually pretty common because a lot of the carts got dumped to China after they were ready to be disposed of, and the Chinese kept them and sold them on eBay, and so there's a lot of these around. The European ones are a little rarer. They should be about the same in value, but they're not. You will usually find these for pretty expensive. I paid a lot for this, but every now and again you can find them for what they should be worth if you're looking diligently. But yeah, these are pretty cool. There's no box for them. They're exactly the same pretty much, except for I think very slight language differences. But they are about the same. Now, there was another demo version of the game that was shown off at several events. I haven't actually figured out. I've done a lot of research on it. I can't figure out if it is there is a physical cart for it, and if any of them still exist. I'm still trying to look for one. If you know anything about that, leave something in the comments because I'd really like to know more about it. But I think at this point it sounds like it was a digital proto demo for the game. But so far I have not seen one. So the next three versions I have are a little bit more rare. They took me a bit longer to find. This first one wasn't actually all that rare. I thought it was at first, but after doing more research, I found out that there were quite a few of them. At first glance, it might just look like the European one, but it has this neat little sticker up here, and let's get a focus on there. It says United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, Malaysia, Singapore, official product. So this is the Middle Eastern version of the game. I have absolutely no idea when it was released. I tried very hard to find a release date. I'm thinking it was released sometime around the mainstream launch, so probably sometime around June or July of 2011. I cannot find an exact date on it, but it looks very much like the European box art, and it has the European cart style with not the European booklet style. It has the North American booklet style, which I think is really interesting. And down here, the region code is MDE for Middle East, I think. So yeah, this is just a really neat thing. And although it has the European box art and cart style, it actually runs on North American 3DS. It is the North American region, so you can run this on any North American 3DS, and it will run just fine. The next version I have here, this is the Korean version of the game. Now, this was released on September 27th of 2012, over a year after the original release of the game in Japan. And actually, this game was patched. There were a lot of patches in it, and they actually went really deep to patch a lot of very small things that normal players probably wouldn't notice. It's lag issues, and they did a decent job, actually. It's very interesting. So here's this cool little region code right down here, the rating symbol. Open it up. Here we have the Korean, it says KOR for the Korean region, the big booklet style, and it has the European box art. I think this was the hardest version for me to find, besides perhaps the European version. Well, this wasn't actually that hard to find, but it was expensive. This one took me quite a long time to find. I had to do a lot of research to finally track one down. But it's a very neat part of the collection. Yeah. And the final version I have here, this is the Chinese version of the game. I thought this was going to be the hardest version to find, but I actually got very lucky and found it quite quickly. It has the other box art from the European version, and this was released a month after the Korean version in October 27th of 2012. Again, over a year after the original release. Here the box code is CHT for China and Taiwan, and it has that nice original booklet style that I love so much. So yeah, this one is a little interesting because it has a lot of different languages on it. It's Taiwanese, it has Chinese, and it also has traditional Chinese. And this is a weird version of the game because this game is banned in China mostly because of the video game ban in China that was recently lifted. But Hong Kong is like its own little subsection of China, I guess. So this game was released in pretty much only Hong Kong, which is really interesting to me that this game actually exists. And this would run on a Taiwanese or Hong Kong 3DS, as well as I think a Chinese IQ 3DS. But good luck tracking one of those down. So I have one last thing to show, I guess kind of two. And this is... I'll show that next. This is the Taiwanese original manga art for Ocarina of Time 3D. I got this when I ordered my Chinese version of the game. It has this nice instruction-y look into it. tells a little bit about the characters. I'm reading it backwards actually because you're supposed to read manga from the back, of course, and it has this cool little scene where Link's fighting Ganondorf, and it's really neat. You can find English translations of these if you Google for them. It's really cool. It tells a little bit about the story of Ocarina of Time, and it's a really neat collection. These were actually shown off in the store on the display for the game in Taiwan, and these were really rare. And these were original artwork specifically for the Taiwanese version, and these are not for resale. These you could not buy these; they were simply for display in store. So I'm really glad I got my hands on this. So the last thing I have to show off here is my special edition Ocarina of Time 3D, Nintendo 3DS. I'm sure most people know what this is, but I recently got this and I like to show it off because it's pretty and it's got this nice gold trim, this nice gold back, and let me open it up so we can see that nice gold button layout and that nice gold 3DS slider. I really like this. It's very nice to have, and it was a very cool release. This came out in North America and Europe, I believe, and I think it came out around September or October. I cannot give you exact dates on that, but it is a nice bundle. I wish it had come out originally with the game when it was first launched, because I would have definitely put some money into that. But yeah, so these are all the versions of Ocarina of Time 3D that I could find. I think this is all of them, but if you know about more, if there's some completely obscure Sri Lankan version or Malaysian version or something. Well, actually, this is the Malaysian version. So if you can find any of those and you know about them, let me know in the comments, so that I can learn more about it and hopefully find out more. If you have any questions about how I came to find all these versions or something like that, please let me know and I'll be happy to answer, because this was a lot of fun. I know a lot about this. I couldn't go nearly into everything I know about each one of these, because there's a lot of history about this game. So yeah, I hope this was fun and informational. Let me know what you thought about it, and thanks for watching.